Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to the Red Band Cafe. This is your host, Dashing Saint. Back at again. This is episode 3 of the PC Chronicles, and I am here today with a guest none other than Uwu the Lion, or should I say Enda the Lion. And welcome
Hello,
in.
how are you? It is a pleasure to be here, Dashing. Thank you so much for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
No worries, is that the rotten straight sword I see, you
No?
scumfuck?
Listen, we're at mid-level. I'm nothing but a sweetheart, okay? I think it's the Carrion Knight sword and the Crystal sword. Nothing too ridiculous.
Well, I got some bad news for you, buddy. That
Hmm.
the game realized your setup is too toxic, so it crashed.
Nah, you're kidding.
I shit you not.
We're off to an excellent start, ladies and gentlemen.
Aye, we are. Aye, we are. So, Enda,
Totally.
tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you do tournaments. I know that you do duels, both IRL and in game. And you are an Irish streamer that usually streams at around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 12 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I like to try and start in the afternoon for me. So I work night shifts, so my schedule can sometimes be a little bit hectic, but I do my best to thereabouts maybe 4 p.m. EST? No, 4 p.m. GMT plus one in the summertime. So kind of an afternoon streamer. I try my best to stream mostly during the weekdays, occasionally on weekends. So yeah, that's usually when I'm on. But in terms of me, yeah, I have been playing these games casually for years. I'm not even sure when I started. I started off with DSR while I was still in high school. No, it was Prepare to Die edition, my God, back in the day. And I played an awful lot of that, mostly PvE, although I'd always dip my toe into playing some PvP in those games, although I wouldn't consider myself having a clue what was what. I think I was a few hundred hours in before I knew what a toggle escape was. It was pretty colors, and I kind of messed around with that. But I got really interested in the PvP sometime last year, sometimes around February, March. I got really invested in it, and it's been downhill from there since pretty much. And I've been streaming it. I started doing tournaments sometime in the summer of last year, and I've been hooked ever since, both competing and casting and hosting tournaments and all that kind of stuff. It's been a wild ride. Let me put it that way.
But what exactly got you into Souls to begin with? So you came in at the Prepare to Die era, so that was
Hmm.
around 2011, 2012. But
Hmm.
what sold you the game, eh?
So I remember there being a big hullabaloo about bringing the game to PC. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on the industry, kind of video game industry. I got super interested in all of that, and a load of people really wanted Dark Souls brought to PC, and I thought, huh, what? I respect these people's opinions. What's this all about? And I remember buying the game for, I think it was a cousin, and I said, hey, this game is super interesting. This should be super cool. Here, take this for like Christmas or whatever. And I looked at it and said, what on earth have I done? This looks dreadful. I can't believe it.
So what, for your aunt, you had to like play test it to make sure, it was okay for your like younger
I
cousin?
was sitting watching him play it, and I was just disgusted. This looks so clunky. This looks so weird. I can't believe it. And I said, I'm never touching this again. I'm never going anywhere near this. No, not interested. And kind of, I think I can't even remember what I got him after that.
And so
But a
End of the
few,
Lion was able to escape the clutches of Dark Souls, and he became another Fortnite streamer,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
twerking his ass off in like skin tight jeans. You can find him
Listen,
over on the Instagram, the TikTok, the interweb, and I believe, do you want to link your OnlyFans too?
you know what? That's only for the real fans, okay? Only real fans. It's in the name. But
Ah,
a few years later, a friend of mine convinced me to play it over at his place. He was like, "No, you've made a mistake. This is the best game ever." And I was like, "I don't believe it." but I played it and it was like, for whatever reason, it clicked. For whatever reason, it clicked, and I've been a fan ever since. Um, and yeah, that's more or less the story there. It was like loads of excitement with this bit of disappointment, and then something happened that it made sense all of a sudden.
It's funny that you mentioned a little bit of disappointment. We were just invaded by somebody with 300 vigor, so naturally, Elden Ring said, fuck it. He doesn't have to deal with that shit.
300 vigor. That's a pro gamer move, I think.
Mm.
Interesting. Interesting.
I guess the 300 vigor, and he's got, what is it? What's all those new Kevins doing? Bloody slash on a katana. So he's gonna do that twice and die.
Yeah, poor fella.
I wonder what he put all those stats in. Oh, I see. He's building for Moonvale. So he's got all the stats for his int and dex there first, but just seven vigor. Seven vigor. I don't even think
The
that's
glass cannon.
possible. Yes, the glass cannon, except he does no damage, so it's the ass
Mhm.
cannon.
I have disconnected. I'm not sure if that was an intention in
That was
a
kind of the
run
joke
intended thing. Yeah, okay.
I was going for there.
Okay. I have my. Do you want me to run on over and get put my
Nah,
sign
nah,
down
nah,
so
nah,
you guys?
nah. Well, the game kicked me. I
Interesting.
was still technically in that graveyard.
Interesting.
But yeah, sometimes when a player tries to connect into a session, what will happen is it will just turn off the session. So that's why a lot of people get these very long load times that just end up being DCs. It's not them going into the
Oh.
boss fight, it's this occurring. Now you're seeing the other end of it.
Huh. So I will put my sign down in the graveyard or
No, 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 just where it was. That will do wonderfully.
no
Yeah, I see
worries.
it. I just heard it
Yeah,
pop up.
magnificent.
And lo and behold, another crash. Okay, there's a solution to this shit. It's called you gotta go get yourself a murky IRL.
Yeah,
You just
I
stick it,
should get something.
you stick it into your CPU,
Interesting.
and either the computer will burn down or the problem will be solved. In both
All right.
cases, you'll never have to play DS3 again. But no, the real
Uh, I think I have it here. Yeah.
okay. So the real solution is I gotta go into another character, load it in,
No
quit out
worries.
before it crashes, then get onto that character. PC's weird like
Fascinating.
that.
PC is weird full stop at the moment. It boggles my mind they still haven't gone anywhere near the 2 minute timer issues. Is it just that they can't figure out what the problem is, or is it how their netcode is developed? What's actually going on? Because I
Like
know it's EAC not communicating correctly with the servers, so it drops the session. But I can't understand why that would be the case.
so, Amir last episode when
Mm-hmm.
he was on, he spoke a little bit in depth about the 2 minute timer, and essentially
Mm-hmm.
EAC is registered to read the player data every 2 minutes, and if it notices something off, kick from the
Okay.
session. Now, because it's not properly implemented in any regard, it will kick players just randomly every 2 minutes, thinking, "Oh, there's a cheater in here." Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
actual save editors and cheaters, such as yourself, End
I
of the Lion, or like End of the Cheater,
very true.
don't get affected.
It's
So
yeah, it's one of the issues we're having as well is that like it's indistinguishable whether or not the session dropped for, you know, honest reasons or if someone actually is cheating and got kicked. Because the time to kill is so quick, it's like impossible to tell the difference, really. And if someone is cheating, they'll have no problem getting away with it because most of the fights last maybe minute and 30 seconds for the most part,
to prove a
especially
point, I am
yeah.
cheating right now using tech that would get me thrown out of every tournament. Look at me, I've got
I
infinite HP. And
I
look at
think you're being
us.
deeply honest.
Session is fine. Oh yes, I just put my vigor up to like 2000. Don't you know? A lot of people think you can just stop leveling at 99. But if
Nah.
you ingest a part of Elden Beast when you kill him, you can just literally become a god. Occasionally,
Interesting.
your game will just crash, but hey, it works.
I'm taking notes as we speak. Thank you.
As you should. Class is now in session. So going back into the EAC issue,
Yes.
so have you personally been affected by this EAC during, say, tournaments, duels, invasions, and how have you dealt with
So
that?
the most troubling one is tournaments. Obviously, like having personal issues with the AAC dropping is like it is what it is. It just happens. Um, like we've all had connectivity issues across the board in all of the games where like someone will be desynced or something like that. That's annoying. Ooh, pretty colors. But in tournaments, we get to see the consequences of it happening full on. And that is every second or third fight, someone will drop. So for context, Bathed and Brenner ran a tournament on PlayStation that round about 3 hours. PC, it lasted four, and the reason for that is because EAC keeps dropping us. Like every second fight, someone will drop before the fight, or worse, in the middle of a tournament, which is just, it's depressing. Because if a fight goes on longer than 2 minutes, someone has a high likelihood of dropping, which is just awful for both the players and for us, unfortunately, as casters having to try and like make sure that we keep it entertaining despite the downtime. So I'd say every tournament has had about an hour of drops because of the 2 minute timer, pretty much. So between getting other people in before fights start, it's been very very bad. It has been brutal on PC.
I remember when we had our first tournament back in March,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a rule that if you get disconnected from the session, it's a loss on your end.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we had this one fight where somebody randomly got disconnected, and then the
Mm-hmm.
other player immediately got disconnected, but they like
Yeah.
had name fights to try and like even
Mm-hmm.
it out. And what did it end up being at the very end? Like both of them running at each other with like shields or something?
Yep. Yeah, that's more or less how it turned out, unfortunately. And that's the unfortunate reality is, and you can't hold it against players as well, that if you make a rule, you have to expect that it's going to be gamed, right? That's like the general expectation of any sport. It doesn't matter what it is. Sports fencing, for instance, is all about the. So, for context, like sports fencing, there's a thing called right of way, wherein you cannot attack. If you hit someone while they're attacking and their foot hasn't hit the ground yet, it doesn't matter. Your attack doesn't count if they hit you. And so what that leads to is everyone and anyone gaming the system so that they're hopping around the place so their foot never hits. So even if the other person hits you, it doesn't matter. So you can look up like sports fencing hopping and you'll just see two people hopping at one another. Or one person hopping and the other person just having to retreat because they can't do anything until they actually attack.
That's
It's
honestly
absurd.
like really
Hmm.
fucking funny because like you hear about these athletes that will like
Yeah.
ensure their certain body parts, but here you got your fencers, your professional fencers making sure
Yep.
that their Achilles heel has like
Yep.
the best fucking insurance.
Yep. Exactly. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But that's the game, and if you set the rules, it's gonna happen. Ooh, we got there. I'm proud of us, Dash.
I'm not. No invaders.
So yeah, I don't hold an like we have to. So that just makes us we have to be really really careful around making rule sets so that it can't be heavily exploited. Because you don't want a case wherein someone has the life advantage, for instance, and they just try and wait out the timer so that they win the round. So it's a really tough call to make a tournament now with the ESC being an issue. Was your whip? a little bit overly excited there for a moment.
It was. Oh, while we're here, I know a lot of
Yes.
people have been using this area for tournaments and fight clubs.
The there's a couple of issues. I understand why they use it. What I really like this place for is dueling sessions with people because it's around the right size, it's square, it has solid corner pressure.
There's no
It's pretty
water.
good. Well, unfortunately for terraining up above, the water debuff still goes through because I don't know, maybe the humidity goes up or something.
Yeah, we have
So
to
that's
definitely
still
get
an
this
issue.
place air conditioned. Go
Hmm.
contract G9 roofing to go deal with all the roof campers. Because the last
Yeah.
guy we called to deal with roofs, well, he just sat there all day. I think he might have went AFK, so to speak.
But yeah, there are some issues with this arena in terms of like the water still being an issue, the water debuff. But it's square, has solid corners, is of a fairly decent size. There's our friend. Hello. Hello. That's not very nice of you, sir.
Ooh, now we can finally go to town. We got two invaders in.
Oh, I need to find my magic. Nom 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 nom. It's not very nice, sir.
Uh-oh.
That's enough of that. Oh, rude.
Don't worry, I got something for this. Hey, buddy, I hear you. Oh, no. Oh, no, I can tell you. He's gonna have 700 HP at the most. Do you know why?
Poor feller. Why is... Oh.
Because he's wearing that set.
Oh, no.
Do you have any
Here.
unupgraded shit?
No, but I can use something that's less optimal than that.
Okay, here,
Let's
you can...
go.
I got a gift for
Hmm?
you.
Oh,
If...
Rezzy, where's this guy?
I don't know, he hid.
Bro.
Here you go.
Ooh, a cleaver.
Now, there is actually a way on how to track invaders in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's tech, unfortunately. Oh,
Oh, he left us. Bless him.
so you can keep an invader in combat, and you can know essentially where they are by using a shackle.
Ah.
So in this case, I have... Watch. Okay, he's not within range yet, and we can't hit him. So
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, there he is.
See, we're in combat now. No hit has been landed, because that is considered a hit that does no damage on people. Quite neat. Okay, so we spoke about EAC. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about Invader Burnout. So a lot of people have been leaving ER in massive droves. A lot of them
Mm-hmm.
are people from your old community. Uh, do you have any just thought process why people are just abandoning ER so quickly?
Well, it's for me. It's not really scratching the same itch that DS3 did. DS3 for as much shit as we gave it was relatively balanced. At least the top setups, with the exception of a couple, were all vaguely balanced. Like if you add a ban list, you take away Murky, you take away PK, you take away maybe Simi and a few other bits. It's more or less a pretty balanced game. Like balanced within setups that are viable, which unfortunately there were very few in this game. In DS3, I mean. Whereas in Elden Ring, it feels like an awful lot more things are viable, but it feels a little bit more rock, paper, scissorsy. Or there's some setups that people can use fairly brainlessly. That's how it feels. I know that's not the case because I've had the pleasure of fighting people who are exceptional players and have humbled me even when I'm using like very broken things. But balance is definitely one of the things that people bring up as like a reason to not enjoy the game. because it feels as though your skill doesn't matter quite as much, especially given that most of my old community are tryhards. That having their skills be better represented in a video game is something that's very important to us, and an awful lot of the deaths do feel just a little bit cheap. So that's maybe one of the reasons. For PC, you have performance issues across the board. Kind of doesn't really matter what way you cut it. The performance issues are really bad. I mean, I'm barely scratching 55 FPS currently, which is unfortunate. And it was worse in earlier iterations of the game, so that's an issue. Um, the movement being different for me is a huge issue. The fact that I feel like I'm trying to pilot a motorbike more so than I am like a character, or it being an extension of myself, kind of is a bit offsetting, but that's purely just because I've played too much Dark Souls 3 that the brain rot is set in. It's a huge amount of issues. One of the big ones I've seen is the 2-minute timer. That's a huge one. Why people don't want to play it anymore. It doesn't feel like it's really worth their time, because the matches are going to end more often than not with a disconnect, which just feels dreadful. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose.
That was a
I
lovely
can actually
trade.
trade with that?
Yes, you can.
Interesting.
He's only got Crucible headpiece and chest piece. The rest, he's not hitting 62 poise.
I don't even know how
So
much poise I have on this. 40.
you've got
40
40,
poise.
yeah, if that's it.
Interesting.
So do you think if uh, new tournaments are like heavily nerfed, such as like keep it at 125, but you
Hmm.
can't use a weapon higher than a +5, do you think people would go in for that type of shit?
I don't think that's the answer to the problem. I think, are you familiar with the ERPVP server, that particular ladder, the ladder rule set?
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly. I'd invite anyone to, if we could post a link to it, to go over the rule set there, because I think it's as good as we can possibly get with what we're given so far. Poise restrictions on certain weapons like ultras is really, really cool. You take no damage, my friend. Um, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do that ultimately I think you can do to mitigate the kind of power creep and stuff like that that's kind of evident in this game. Watch out behind you.
What
Oh, he fell
what's
off the
behind
edge.
me?
There was an angry man. He
Aren't we all
might be
angry
slightly
men?
angry that he fell over. There he is. There he is. Hi.
Oh, thank you for the save.
You're welcome. Ooh. Oh, that
That should not
we
have
have
hit.
we have just a smidgen of latency. I wouldn't worry about it. End of the laggard, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, that definitely shouldn't have hit. I'm not complaining. You saved my bacon. Good Canadian bacon now for sale.
Yeah,
But
listen, keep it going.
so these Elden Ring tournaments, tournament
Hmm.
rule set, uh, go into them in as much detail as you'd like.
So believe ultras poise. The poise you're limited to on ultras is, if I recall correctly, 49 poise, which means that you can most likely poise break it even with through its hyper armor with certain setups, which are very popular. So that's a heavy nerf to Ugg, seeing as it can't trade with impunity. I believe double straight swords and some other very strong meta setups are also heavily limited, which is a breath of fresh air, seeing as it allows other setups to be viable and competitive against them, such as dual curve swords and stuff. I believe it's 16. Is it 65 or 54? I'd have to check in a moment. Do remind me to check it though.
Okay.
Oh, no Estus cancel, rip. Oh, I thought I'd get a pivot on you. What else is there? Bloodhound Step is obviously banned. It kind of has to be. On our latency, I can backstab that far too easily. It's unfortunate. Or it uses too much of his stam when he does that. I think that's the problem.
What do you mean Bloodhound Step is banned? I thought it
I
was,
know.
the number one PvP solution.
Well, it's a solution to making me want to Alt F4 faster than usual. That'll do it.
Alt F4, but the patch, you can now exit to desktop. Why
That
even
is true.
bother?
Thank you
We have
so
the
much,
technology.
Miyazaki. We have the means.
Yeah.
That particular rule set, though, it's been the most fun I've had playing in this game in a very long time. Um, it still leaves an awful lot to be desired, I feel, but it's as close as we've gotten. Look at you, the backstabber. Almost got it. Goof would be upset at that one. How
I
could I?
Goof is actually slotted to be on the show soon. We just got to come up with a date. We're going to be
I would love to
continuing
hear him.
the adventures of Tip Top in Elden
That
Ring.
that's fantastic to hear.
Okay.
Oh God. I have frozen needle.
No, no, no. I'm just looking for shit that boosts my immunity. I'm going through there. I don't want to get poisoned.
Dappled white. I might have a ring actually.
Okay, that should do.
Mm,
And decent fashion too.
Gets mottled, isn't it? Can't remember here.
The immunity boosting one? You could
Mhm.
just put on. Yeah, I think it's modeled.
I'm legging it. I'm legging it. That was stressful.
I think you might have
Oh.
introduced a friend here.
Uh,
Ow.
I'm sorry.
Go to sleep.
I did not, in fact, go to sleep. Here we go. Got him. Wrecked. But yeah, in terms of what else here, we have a bit of downtime actually. I might as well just check out the rule set and we can go through it a little bit. And you can. I'm actually curious as to your thoughts about it. So the we'll ignore that. Consumables would ignore that. So the Crucible Feather Talisman is banned, and Alexander's and Warrior Jar are banned. So the things that boost damage of like weapon arts and stuff is out. The Holy Proof Liver is banned because it's currently bugged.
Eh?
It does way too much absorption.
Well, yeah, because of holy shit damage.
Yeah, exactly. But it is banned, making coded ridiculously strong, unfortunately. Ashes of War Bloodhound, Royal Knight's Resolve, and Determination are banned.
Well, if Royal Knight's is resolve is banned, does that mean Great Shields are also banned?
Yes.
Oh,
Great Shields are banned as part of a shield poke. Um, so in other words, you can't do any shield poke shenanigans.
so
Great Shields are still strong.
if I'm running Quick Step Rapier, but I'm not using Shield Poke with a fingerprint, that's completely okay by those rules. But Lord
I
forbid me putting fucking Royal Knight's Resolve on.
Quickstep, I believe, Quickstep and Shield is also banned, I believe, or at least on certain weapons. So if I remember correctly, thrusting swords cannot have Quickstep. Um, and even then,
No, they can, if I recall
well, no, they
correctly.
can't under the rule set, you see,
Oh,
my
oh, under
friend.
the
Ah ha
rules.
ha.
I see what you're saying
Yes.
there.
Same with Uggs, you can't have Quickstep Uggs.
Yeah, because then you've got the Crouch Poke.
Exactly. Which is just a little bit too strong. I may have made a terrible mistake here.
Well, yes, you agreed to be on the podcast. I know it's a terrible mistake.
Wow, you're so funny, bro.
I still get poisoned here.
Leg it. What else is there then? So I'm looking at it here. All HP healing
Oh,
incantations are
dude,
banned.
I had to let out a shit there. Why did you walk straight into it?
I'm sorry, listen, I wasn't paying attention. Please forgive me.
Mm,
What else is
negotiable.
there then? The cross-region rules then
No.
are another interesting one. Did I just do it again? I did. Yep. Goodbye. Which is Swords of Saint Trina are banned because of latency issues.
Yes, Leyden St. Trina, I've encountered it. The other day, actually, I accidentally
Mm-hmm.
sniped Ouroboros trying to snipe
Okay.
Kidolicious. So he invaded in, and I believe he's on the East Coast, and I'm Central Canada. And I got a great
Mm-hmm.
connection, but a couple of his ghost hits were putting me to sleep quite easily. And that was a bit worrisome because knowing a lot of the community, a lot of people don't play Wired, and I know Oro does, but just between the both of us, like we should not have the distance where you are about Great Spear range away from me, and you're putting me to sleep.
There's a general issue with I don't think stuff should proc based on ghost hits, just as a rule. I think that taking away like a player's agency, where have you gotten to, you scoundrel? There you are. I'll be there in a moment. Please don't die, Dash. No. Okay, you did it. I'm proud of you. Whew. I'm sorry.
Was there
It
any
won't
doubt?
happen again.
Was there seriously any doubt?
Things were looking pretty rough there for a second, man.
This does what? 7 HP per tick, but he used to wear us in DS3.
Do you need some poison shenanigans? Or are you okay?
Nah,
I can
it's
try.
gonna wear off in a minute.
No worries.
Very interesting rule set because I know a lot of people like rely on those types of procs, especially when dealing with people that have quite a bit of distance between them.
Well,
So
we got past that by, keeping the regions fairly close to each other. So NA, for the most part, has no interaction with EU on the leaderboard tourneys. I think the biggest kind of region spread is
EU, because technically you got
EU.
access to Russia,
hmm
uh,
Middle East as
Middle
well. We have some Middle
East,
East gamers who can play with us as well.
and then you got like
Which
West
even then, it's
Coast,
not bad.
like people that are like in the British Isles and whatnot. So
hmm
yeah, that would be a bit hard to like build around. It seems like I gave you a lot of work to do trying to come up with just how to manage like tournaments.
It's a mess as it stands right now, but that's mostly because the balance issues are kind of where they are. As for how to fix it, I'm always hesitant to kind of make like suggestions of how things should or shouldn't work because it can one little thing can completely change the balance and like mess everything up. So I can understand a bit of hesitation and like, oh, we should do this, this, and this, and this would make the game better. Probably not actually. You're probably going to overlook something and it's going to make things even worse, is my general way of looking at it. But the one thing that I do know that's just an awful feeling is when you do have those procs, unlike St. Trina's, when you've rolled, it feels like your mechanical skill or your ability to reaction roll is like nerfed completely because they do have that option
Yeah.
to just automatically proc it and then lead to almost guaranteed damage. I mean, it was bad in DS3 when you could have like your Rotten Grew poison buffs that could proc and like do untold damage to you over the if they play it correctly. Like status pressure is insane, and it's even stronger in this game. Honestly, like I've seen people who really know what they're doing, um, poison you and then just wait it out, playing it incredibly, which is the smart way to play status. You do a damage status over time and then you just wait it out and punish their attempt to deal with it. And the longer they wait, the more likely that's just pure value. It's just really, really smart. But if you rolled it, I don't think it should proc. I really don't. And it definitely shouldn't proc an animation. I think that is a terrible oversight and something that should probably not be in the video game, to be honest.
It
It's definitely frustrating.
it
Go
feels
on.
definitely weird to try and like find noticeable ways on how to deal with latency and how it affects the
hmm
PvP because of the fact ghost hits. Like I know in Bloodborne is like really fast-paced combat
hmm
because nothing really costs too much stamina unless you're doing heavy attacks, but most people do dash attacks unless they're using like a very specific build like using the Beast Cutter, which
Mm-hmm.
is essentially a whip sword hybrid, but it's got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of range and like backstep R2s. And if you haven't played Bloodborne, you should definitely. And
I played a bit of it. It's incredible. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. But the PvP, once you get like high latency involved, it's really hard to like really nail shit
Yeah.
down,
Mm.
which is problematic. So my next question is, what about stuff that is kind of like a weird zone, like pulley crossbow? A lot of people would use it
Mm-hmm.
with status. So sleep, poison, rot. Has that been banned?
Um, I believe there was some problems with the pulley crossbow that extended beyond just the issues with using status to proc. There was some funny stuff you could do with Uggs. I remember a friend of mine was messing around with that. That was just horrifying to go up against. Oh, nice. You did good stuff, gamer. Um, but I think there's some other glitches that happen with the pulley crossbow. I'm not sure if they've been fixed, but they're
90%
definitely
of
not.
them have been fixed. It used to be that you could trigger deathblade with it.
Ooh, no.
Did you fall
Okay.
off?
No, I didn't. I was a strong gamer. That's unfortunate that ended that way. That guy was. I thought he was gonna get melted in the first engagement, but he held in. Good on you, Mamka?
Mamka.
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 Yeah, that was a nice fight, gamer.
Yeah, but I was wondering, like, why were they naked?
Fashion, it's
Yeah,
important.
yeah, but if you're gonna go naked, you go for like the grave tender coat, because you could just turn that into a pair of wristbands, and they give like, what is it, 8% physical absorption bonus?
Ooh, hello.
It's really fucking good.
Sorry, I got distracted by our wonderful friend there. What?
Okay,
Could
so
you repeat the question?
like with his fashion there, with his
Mm-hmm.
fashion,
Mm-hmm.
you can go like naked and still have good absorption, or at least make it look like you're naked. With Don't worry, it's
Okay,
it's
I'm
not a
okay.
lethal fall. I'm coming down. You could use the Grave Tender coat, which you probably know in like consecrated snowfields. You fight these big guys that have like a
Yes.
rotting great axe and colossals. You can alter that chest piece so it just turns into a pair of armlets, and like 8% physical reduction on them. Like
Oh, yes.
like what do I have that has like 8 physical reduction? Like this has 9, but then you just go topless and hey, you got 8. And like
Hmm.
8 physical reduction, especially at like this level, is really decent just for like a chest piece. Like I've got 1 physical reduction on this build. I reduce a grand total of 1 because at low level nobody's really doing high damage. So yeah, they're the big difference between
Interesting.
taking 2,000 damage at meta wearing like a sword seal, or like 1,500 at meta wearing a sword seal.
Yeah, the source seal is an interesting one. I was kind of curious earlier on if it was worth it, and then looked at the damage output of just everything. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna give that one a miss." For low level, I think it's fine, so long as you've like put in the extra work to get like the different. Unless if you're using like specific tools that need it, I think it's a worthwhile investment. Hello, hi, what's up? Do I have anything that does? I do no damage to you. Well, that's a good point, actually.
You gotta crack the crystals and then you can start doing damage. And dude uses something that does very low poise damage. Here,
Where's my poise damage things?
there you go.
Thank you. Thank you. uh,
No. The crystal's already cracked. You can just hit it.
oh. Huh.
Learn something new every day.
Interesting.
A lot of the gankers that stay here tend to love who go in here for resource farming, at least on PS4, because these glintstone fireflies are used to make the magic resin. So
Okay.
because it's like one of the most accessible, and you can like get 20 of them just going around here. It's perfect.
Interesting.
And
Yeah, yeah.
magic has that one weapon that you can buff with magic when it has innate magic too. The Clayman's harpoon. So like I could buff this with magic right now if I had that recipe book, which I don't think. Yeah, I don't have that recipe book. But like just as an example, I've got Holy Grace, so
Mhm.
that does how much? So that does 85. So you'd be
Okay.
stacking. So right now I've got it heavy infused, so my magic does 70 plus an 85 boost, and then you can just put whatever physical astral war you want on it. So it's almost like, a bootleg magic infusion for it.
Interesting. One of the things is that PC, especially the people who are left that I would be playing with more often than not, are probably going to be using Cheat Engine. There's a load of tools out there that allow you to launch the game without EAC offline that I've been using. So kind of the resource farming and stuff is a little bit weird to me, especially in the circles that I run. It's not really something we think about all that often.
Do you,
Hello.
do you think with all these things being muled or just, pulled into the game, that it kind of defeats players going through trying to farm and just decreases overall activity, so it just ends up being like ganks?
With, that's
I know
for me, yeah.
that's a very
From
loaded question that's
yeah.
really hard to diffuse, but I want to throw you a bit of a curveball here.
No, I think that's not a problem though, because you want those dedicated ganks, especially when you're already looking for when you're already struggling to find activity. I know people much prefer the people kind of running through the game. I'm gonna say honestly to kind of without trying not to morally load it, but like people running through the game honestly, you're going to in this game especially, you're going to two shot. If you have a vague idea what you're doing, or you're nerfing yourself to high heavens, unless they have an overleveled phantom, in which case it's not quite that. Um, but in terms of like DS3 towards the end, all you were getting was, and especially now on PC because there's no servers, all you get are those gankers, and I have to say I'm having the most amount of fun doing that. But I understand that that's not the perspective an awful lot of people have,
Hmm.
and just because I prefer those try hard, sweaty ganks doesn't mean everyone does, and it can be, I don't know, it can be it can be draining to fight nothing but that all the time. But then again, I'm a duelist,
Hmm.
so I don't
And
know.
generally, duelists don't mind like getting muled and whatnot because they're just there for the PvP.
Yeah,
But
exactly, and like it was a bit of a joke at the start, that turned out to almost not be a joke. Was during my first playthrough, it's like I miss my PvP game. Can someone send me a table, please? Because that's why I play these games. These are my weird fighting games, is how I look at it. What's this? A glowstone?
that's from me. So, if you got a bow, I want you to take a shot at that balloon over there. You got to do
Okay.
it on this spot though.
Okay, so bow.
If you don't
Where
have
are you?
if you don't have one,
I
I can
started.
lend you one.
There we are. Okay, a bow. So like this? I'm joking. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. So from here, I'm standing on this spot.
No looking down the sights. We're both going to take shots. See who hits the balloon first. Okay. So no
Okay.
looking down the sights. You're just going to be stuck with free aim. So I'm going to go for like a long bow, so I've got better range. Okay, my turn. Nothing.
I can't actually see the arc on it.
Seems like a skill issue there.
Yes. Let me change the arrow. Oh.
You got the next shot.
Yes.
Nope,
I think
nope,
that was a
didn't
hit.
pop.
Oh, I see.
I might have to actually move forward a little bit. So let's put it here. This one should be a bit easier to hit. I'll give you the first shot.
Too high?
My turn.
Yeah.
Your turn. Oh,
Too high? Go for it.
nada. Oh, I got it.
Aha! I would have gotten it next, honest. GG's.
GG's. I won the best of 9, but I'll give you a consolation prize. So
A
whenever you shoot one of
consolation.
those, you
Yes.
get a golden rune. So I just got a +6 for that. So I'll leave you this +5. There you go. Enjoy your little bit of joy. You can
Oh,
go buy yourself some shiny bones.
from your nearest bone peddler.
Yeah,
Thank you. It
you're
was fun,
welcome.
dude.
Yeah, I on like my third playthrough, I was playing through with a bunch of friends, and we just took,
Mhm.
some crack shots, trying to hit all the balloons throughout it, like playing this little game of golf, if you would. Oh
The
well, getting
yeah,
invaded and
yeah.
dealing with invaders.
I'm sure that was an experience, no doubt.
Oh,
Hello,
it
Mr.
was.
Tree Man. But I'll put a cap on that other conversation that you had. Oh, I cannot. The in terms of like activity, I think that the people who do have access to Cheat Engine are usually the more dedicated, the people who are in the community, I guess, who are already your people who use Twitch, people who I don't know what else you would have, maybe
Mixer.
some YouTube, uh, or any of those like more dedicated communities that are in touch with what's going on. You're not really going to get your more casual PvEers using Cheat Engine. I mean, I didn't even know Cheat Engine was widely used until I came into the community. Um, and I would have put like 500 or 600 hours into the game before that. So, I don't know. I don't think it's really going to affect activity, but it's going to put barriers between. Oh, I'm an idiot. I might actually end up getting. There we go. Uh-oh. It puts barriers between the more casual player base, I think, and the more dedicated player. I'm a brain genius, I believe.
Wow. And the laggard dying to just essentially a reskin boss from DS1.
Yep. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm pro at this game, Dash. Where do you want me to put my sign?
Converted tower. I'll grab it in a moment. Just gonna finish what you started.
Yeah, no worries. May have a mistake may have been made. Actually, um, I see. I think that's an issue. It's like it puts another degree of separation from certain elements of the community that I think isn't necessarily a good thing, but it's kind of inevitable in these kinds of games.
Okay, coming to pick
Between the
you up.
more, yeah, no worries. I'll be there in just a moment. I have to do something first. Do that, yes, and then I think this, yes. Which I think in previous games anyway. In this game, I'm not so sure because I'm very disconnected from. How do I put it? I'm already disconnected from a more kind of casual player's kind of perspective as is. So I'm not really sure what would be going through their heads so much or what their perspective is on the game.
Well, I can tell you, essentially what we've heard, and I've spoken
Mm-hmm.
to a couple people that just got into Souls, just their thoughts on
Mm-hmm.
invaders. The only people getting invaded are those that set up ganks and those that are
Mm-hmm.
going through. And the people who set up ganks, when they lose interest, they're gone. But the people going
Yeah.
through, they got to deal with a new invader if they're using Taunter's Tongue, like every 12 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not using Taunter's Tongue, every, what is it? I think Amir said 15 minutes without fail, another invader, most likely to
Yeah.
just shut down all their progress. So what a lot of them
Yeah.
do is the moment they get invaded, they'll go to the nearest sign of grace and they'll essentially say, "Okay, game's over. We got 15 minutes. We enjoyed our session."
That's
And
crazy
yeah,
though.
I'm actually getting summoned in as a blue. No, I'm not.
Oh,
My game is
no
crashing.
worries. Saved for the blue.
Yeah, but I kept my boss alive at 1 HP, so my whole idea was I was gonna get you in, let you go walk up to the boss, shoot it with an arrow, and then kick you from the session.
Nah.
So once again,
Deserved, honestly.
yeah,
Deserved,
deserved.
honestly.
We just can't have fun anymore.
Yeah, myself and a few others talked about like I think it was JM, Brenna, and Knight. We were having a discussion about like how to make like the multiplayer session, and that's something I completely overlooked. Because someone made a video to that effect, like it's incredibly annoying doing co-op in this game because you get invaded constantly because there's not enough there's not enough people hosting. So that's pretty poor, unfortunately.
And the
That's
sad thing
something, yeah.
is, like,
Go on.
in DS3, we had like a lot of people that, could host or snipe.
Yep.
But in Elden Ring, it's easy, but a lot of the invasions all happen in legacy dungeons. And once the boss is
Mm,
dead there, no
it's
more
over.
invasions. What I mean by legacy dungeons is like specifically the dungeons that you find throughout the map. Stormvale
Mm-hmm.
Castle is considered one, Ray at Lucaria. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go to a PvP stream, that's 90% of what people are
Yep.
doing those invasions. So what those people do is they'll encourage other people to go invade there. And so you end up with like maybe 12 parties and 30 different invaders all trying to look for the DS3 level of activity. But because
Mm,
one invader in 15 minutes every time, and they're not going to be there
yep.
forever, dead game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that could be an issue, but I think like taking without the ability to stream snipe, it's kind of unfortunate because like that was one of the best parts of DS3 is seeing someone on and trying to snipe a co-invasion. And
Oh, yes,
because
let me
at the
go
yeah.
get my Brazilian gank to go hunt down G9 for the 20th time to go make
Yeah.
another exposed YouTube video for me and my 40 other subs, but
Mm-hmm.
most of which are like my school friends.
Yeah.
I'm not calling people out, but
But that's like having those villains in the community is good as well, or like having those like disgusting ganks that stream snipe is like a community effort to take them down as well, which people forget. Um, like we hate those ridiculous gankers who do well. I mean, PC didn't have too many of them, thankfully enough. But it's usually a community effort to take them down. I just took out this gank with a couple of other people. Was anyone else there? And it's like a bonding moment, which doesn't really exist in this, because the sweaty gank that's stream sniping is a 3v1, and chances are they've disabled Taunter's tongue.
no,
So,
they'll keep Tartar's tongue
mm,
on, but because four-player limit, you can't
mm-hmm,
get, a co-invader in.
mm-hmm,
So they'll just keep it on and, two other gankers. There's no
yep,
chance. It's just got to be one invader against this entire
yeah,
army by themselves.
exactly.
It's kind of a reverse survival scenario.
Yeah, it
And a,
is.
and a lot of people don't like that idea. They don't. They want to go
Well,
invade and have
yeah,
like the bonding experience and, have the
mm-hmm.
eldritches and but now the shoes
Now
on the
it's
other
very yeah.
foot. The invaders are the survivalists.
Which I guess if that's what you're into, that's fine. I never really liked that experience anyway. I know I've spoken to a few people who are like, yeah, I really love those 3v1s at like mid-level or some of those things and like, invading the dungeon and looking for that kind of like that really odd stacked against me, can I take them down? I never really enjoyed that personally. I much preferred the 3v3 kind of fun and games that happened in Pontiff. So it's not, and now I'm just less likely to invade, to be perfectly honest with you. And a connection error. Magnificent.
A game crashed again.
The
Okay.
run is cursed. The run is cursed.
We're already halfway to the Lazuli sword. We're nearly there. Like I said, it would take us about an hour and a half. That was barring like toxic fucking sweaties and the game just kicking us every 5 minutes.
My people? Did you mention my people, Dash? My God.
Yes, your people are here in the swamp, but they're only at one bracket.
Yeah. And I think the people have like gone to every. I know I was watching Stilovsky. He was looking for. He has an invader at every bracket now, trying to get something. It's gotten to that point, and like he'll switch immediately, maybe get two invasions and then out. That's been my experience as well. I have a very low. I have kind of a RL30. I now have this build. And if I ever get the inclination to invade, I have to try all the brackets at all areas to try and get consistent activity, which for live streaming is not great. It makes it very difficult to stream.
I completely understand. I've tried that
Mm.
myself, and I ended up coming up with a solution: double invasion. So at the cost of your streamer's sanity, you could be having him invading on two different platforms. Oh
Yep.
wow, so poggers.
Yep. And it's a combination of the player limit and some of what I think is FromSoft decision to disable solo hosts. But honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. Even after all these months, it definitely like kills activity, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. It was an interesting solution to a problem, but has caused multiple ones since. So I don't know.
Speaking of activity, could you reapply your
Yep. So, sign is back down.
sign? No. You got to be putting down your finger, bud. I got to
Okay,
be picking up
okay,
your
sorry.
finger. You got to use the proper terminology. Let's go over this. So a bonfire is
Grace.
a Estus flask is a
Flask of crimson tears.
no. No, it's a flask of tears. I didn't specify whether it was yellow or blue.
I'm sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
A throwing knife is a
Fan dagger.
no, it's a throwing dagger.
I've used nothing else but a fan dagger,
Before
I'm
we
going to be
continue this
honest.
run, we
Yeah.
got to go through all this shit.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Yes, dad.
Okay. A gamer crutch is called a
Power stance spear?
rune arc. Come on.
Okay,
Get
I'm
with the
sorry.
system.
Okay, that's a rune arc. All right. A gamer crutch is a rune arc. All right. Committed to memory.
Okay. The silver serpent ring is a
Oh God, you're actually gonna make me open my inventory for this one. I don't even know what it is. That's the one that improves your
soul count.
what's it? Soul count. Not no, it wouldn't be soul count. It would be rune count,
No,
right?
no, no. I'm telling you what it is in DS3. Now you got to translate it.
Oh, it's a golden scarab in this one.
There you go. Now stop. Get out of your
Interesting.
fucking inventory. You should know this
No,
shit. A black firebomb is a.
a flame of the red mains,
Yup.
or the red main fire. But I don't even. It's close enough. Red main something. I made that one.
And a disconnection is intended gameplay.
Oh man. And I mean, it does give me the a tier for it, so it must be intended, surely.
Yes, indeed.
That you had no idea how hard it was to not say Estes on that one.
I know. I appreciate your struggle. What do you
Oh man.
feel about the
Mhm.
Asha War system? Now that we're just getting down to the brass tacks of ER. Do you think Ashes of War do too much damage? Do you think they should be available on all weapons? Thoughts on fusions? That type of shit. What? Give me your thought process.
I think in terms of like making your own custom inventory and like utilizing move sets that are like super interesting, I think the Ash of War system, because before, if you look at like other games, like you'd be using like the special qualities of certain weapons for their weapon art, right?
Yeah.
But now you have that flexibility where you're able to like move that around and maybe make interesting combos, and I think it's a really cool system, honestly. I think in general, even like some of the systems in ER are like really, really solid. Imperfect, but really, really interesting. Ow.
But then that kind of cements my next like little
Mm-hmm.
question for you. So if you could put like quick step on any Uggs, wouldn't it just make sense to put it on the Uggs with like the best range or the best scaling and not just
Yep.
use it on anything else?
True, but you have to remember that like no matter what the balancing is in the video game, there's always going to be optimal strategies. Move set. If a move set is bad, you're not going to use the weapon, or if the scaling is bad, you're not going. You're just flat out not going to use the weapon. I'm perfectly fine with maybe a dozen to a 2 dozen setups being in any way like viable at a competitive level, but other weapons might scale better at other brackets. So if you don't like meta, you can go to a different bracket and play that. Um, that would be my way of looking at it. That's being a little bit mean about it, but like you'll find that there's going to be an optimal strategy no matter what way you cut it.
Hmm. Okay,
And yeah, go on.
okay, but mostly I was wondering like your thoughts about Ashes of War, like unique ones. So, for example,
Hmm.
this Loretta's War
Hmm.
Scythe, and it's got Loretta Slash.
Yeah,
I don't have the decks on it right now, but
super
you know what
cool.
it looks like. And you could get the player one, and you could put that on 90% of the weapons.
Hmm.
But then you've got stuff like Waterfall Dance and like unique Ashes of War that can't be put on anything.
Hmm.
So that just incentivizes a weird type of play. Like people will only use, well, I don't know, the Blade of Death just so that they can do that
Yep.
guaranteed little proc, and then they won't use it for anything else.
Yep.
So
Um,
it kind of
go
feels
on. Sorry.
weird.
It does, but I'm not sure if that's a bad thing because you're for a change. Let me think about this for a second.
Take your time.
So, you kind of end up in a very similar position to Dark Souls 3 in that respect, where like certain weapons would be not you. I don't want to say useless, but we have very niche uses because of a certain property it has. And not having access to all of the Ashes of War and having certain things that you're still like have to have dedicated swaps for, organize your inventory around, I think is perfectly fine because you're rewarded now more so than you were in other games for your ability, your mechanical ability to swap, which I think is a perfectly fine thing. Having those little rewards for like skills that you can pick up through your playthrough, I think are important for like the general state of the or health of the skill curve of a game.
What about?
It's on. Sorry, go
No,
on.
no, no. By all means.
I was just gonna say it's like in certain cases it's still a shame that the rest of the move set isn't quite up to snuff, or some other property of the game doesn't quite cut it. But I think it's kind of still nice to have those little nods to like this is a skill you should probably learn if you want to play optimally. That I think is being rewarded in a very meaningful way.
I mean,
But I still, yeah, yeah. Go on.
for
Sorry.
some
I.
skills like Giant Hunt, for example, like
Mm-hmm.
that makes perfect sense to be running it on an Uggs because then you can get that. I'm trying to remember the DS3 equivalent. Why'd you kill the opera singer?
Um, I found out it might not have been Latin, so I'm upset. There we go.
Oh, I see. So it could have been Gaelic.
Exactly. I don't want them to out me just yet.
Fair enough. But like stuff like Giant Hunt. So the
Yeah.
DS3 equivalent would be, I don't know, charged R2 on a Lothar Knight greatsword. You know, you got that
Yeah.
little bit of push and knocks people on their ass. You
Hmm.
get essentially the same effect. But
Yeah.
then
Oh,
game crash.
yeah, I've thought something like that would have happened.
Yeah, so you get people that would use Giant Hunt like that, but then it just ends up being you get people that use the weapons just simply for the ashes of war because
Hmm.
it does a shit ton of damage. So the most well-known one is you see Rivers of Blood. You don't see someone using like the R1s, the R2s. It's
Yeah.
just an ash of war. That's
Hmm.
that's it. In fact, I would love to talk to like FromSoft and just say, hey, remove the name Rivers of Blood. Just call it Corpse Piler because
Hmm.
that's all people use it for.
Yeah. Um.
And in DS3, you could kind of swap it up. So let's say you're using, oh, I don't know, a Claymore. A Claymore, you've
Hmm.
got the one-handed R1s that you would use, you've got the R2, and of course, you've got the weapon art, which can
Hmm.
uh, break guard, and it's got like poise to push forward. But because of the poise system and because of the mobility in ER, people are not incentivized to use anything else on that weapon except for the Ashel War.
Yeah. I think katanas are an interesting case because depending on the range, they do have the backswing, and depending on the angle and if you have someone cornered. So I wouldn't go so far as to say it's in the rest of the moveset is useless in that case, but it's such a shame that the damage is overtuned so heavily on the ashes. I think it's you're incentivized to press that button at the exception of everything else. I think is the issue, especially if you're playing at a low level and invading.
Hmm.
When I say low level, I don't mean like a low rune level. I mean if you're like new, basically. It's like, oh, this does high damage. I guess I just press this. Not quite understanding that there's other things you use and you have to set up and you have to condition and you have to do all of these things to kind of set it up so you can even land it in the first place. So it's a shame that that's not communicated better. I feel, but the damage is overtuned across the board. Even like your power stance straight swords, they do so much damage on the L1. Your curved swords hit like a truck. Your Ugs with counter damage is insane. It's sorry, your colossal swords. Excuse me.
There we go.
Yeah, there we yeah. Although the only one they'd be using out in the wild is the ultra great sword,
Hmm.
so I wouldn't be too wrong. But you know what I mean? It's like the damage across the board is overtuned. It's the time to kill is a huge issue in the game, irrespective of like what button you're pressing. You're probably doing too much. Even your R1s can hit, especially if someone's not kitted out properly, far too hard. So I don't know. I think that's a problem with the rest of the game more so than just the Ashes of War system.
Yeah, like the other day I was working
Hmm.
on a meta build for PS4, named him after Praise a Pixel,
Hmm.
and it's a quality build. So I was going up against the Dragon Lord boss of Farum Azula. You probably know the one I'm talking about.
The
So
yeah, I know of him. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
so he does like mostly lightning damage. So I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I've got like 50 figure. I'm sure I can definitely survive this shit.
Hmm.
Got two shot because in phase two he makes it rain and that neuters your lightning defense.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I don't want to just go for like lightning protection. I want to try and be smart with it. So because I wanted to play it not perfectly, I want to emulate it like it was PvP. So what can
Hmm.
you as a player do against, something that does 1600 damage? So I went through my inventory and as it happens, you get a really high s- stability shield
Hmm.
in that region. You get the Beast Jar shield, which has lightning defense. So I'm like, okay, what if this is DS3 for a moment? So I infused it with lightning and got it up to max upgrade, and it offered 75% lightning reduction and the low cost of 91 physical reduction.
Mm.
So I decided to test it out, and lo and behold, I had a whole 40 chip damage go through.
Yeah.
40 chip damage. So somehow I'm getting two shot with 50 vigor, but put up this little shield that blocks 75% of it, and it does 40 chip. It guard breaks it, sure, but it just
At least you're
felt,
still alive.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so if this is like DS3, it's just kind of incentivizing shield use because with a shield, that number on the far right, that is not, oh, block 100 damage. No, no, it'll
Mm.
block 100% of the damage.
Mm.
And I was thinking, okay, so you got the power stance system, which, can shit out damage. So you got, sword and board. But that's just going to incentivize shield poke. Because in
Yup.
DS3, if you did shield poke, you get the stability of your main hand weapon going through. So it was a really iffy system. So unless
Yeah,
you
it
are
was.
rocking like fucking 60 endurance, you're gonna get guard broke by like your second Gundyrs.
I think that with DS3's turtle builds were interesting because you need to have really. It was one of those positional awareness builds where you need to really know where the other person was, could be, and whether or not you were going to get backstabbed. I feel like it's a little bit, it's a touch more brainless in this game, unfortunately, because now you don't have to worry about, okay, are they going to R1? Am I going to interrupt them? Sorry, excuse me. With in this game, the shield play is not quite as intricate or as interesting, I feel. I think that it's especially I've done an awful lot of katana on board, because that's basically the sword and board of old with your backswings.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much the same setup, but now you have like a really high damage option that you can trade with in the form of like unsheathed or the spin slash. And
I
that's kind of fun, but the shield really carries that build to a high degree, which I don't know. It's very difficult to counter if it's played well.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm at the foot of the Fort Belfries. If you want to go put down your sign.
Oh, is foot of the
Yeah,
four
that's just north
Belfries.
of
Yeah,
where we were a
yeah, I
moment
have it
ago.
there. Yeah, yeah, I have it there. No worries. Sorry.
So, have you had much success with your katana and board play? How's it
Yeah,
feel?
I think I'd have an awful lot more success with it if I go Moonveil on board. I've seen Fuko in tournaments have who's a NA West player
Hmm.
have a huge amount of success with it, and same with I think Raskills in the last PSN tournament was another player who had a huge amount of skill, good results with that weapon. It's not as still not as strong as Uggs and board, weirdly enough. Uggs and board is incredibly powerful, especially in when you have a limited poise meta. But I've had a huge amount of fun. I find it really fun to fight Uggs with it. In the current leaderboard rule set, with where you can basically stagger the Uggs user with an R1, and that's a really fun matchup. And that I think the Uggs still wins, but it's tons of fun to play it because you can interrupt, they can interrupt. You have a solid back and forth. Both of you have to be careful when engaging. I think it's more fun than effective, personally, but it's been an awful lot of fun. Please, please. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I did, but I didn't mean it.
I remember seeing Luber. I think it was use
Hmm.
it in our tournament against G9. He was
Yes.
playing around with Z-Hander and the Halig Tree Knight Great Shield. I want to say.
Yes, I think that was the one. Yeah, he had a huge amount of success with that. Was it him? No, I don't believe it was G. It was Luber who fought G. I think that was one lad.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's the name of
that's
the
it.
chap.
One lad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the fella. That kid, by the way, that was like his first that was his second tourney, I believe. And I don't think he competed in Dark Souls 3 at all. But yeah, he's had huge success in this game for whatever reason. It clicks with him an awful lot. and it's really nice to see a new player do especially well. Are you sliding? Yeah, you're sliding. Rip.
Yeah, game crash. It's nice to see just new people taking up the
Yes.
mantles as the old guard just move away from Souls. I think that's the one thing I didn't expect was the amount of people moving away, but a lot of the new people just getting into it and just getting with it because it's like, okay, we've been waiting so long for this game, but we forgot how big Elden Ring actually was to like
Mm.
mainstream audiences. You had just fucking Ryan Reynolds saying, "No, I'm not being the star of Elden Ring." Geoff Keighley getting like death
Hmm.
threats. Where's the game, Geoff?
Yeah.
Where's the fucking game? People bugging George, but George is used to it because where's Winds of Winter?
We've been waiting a while for that book to drop, but next year maybe, hopefully.
Patch soon.
Uh,
Patch
yeah,
soon.
patch soon. Patch in 10 minutes, right?
No, patch in 10. 10 what?
Yeah.
9. Okay.
No, it's back to 10 again. Sorry, it was a false start, boys.
Yeah, you got your hopes up.
But yeah, I think that the new people coming into the game is really exciting. I know that Bevan made it into the finals in his like second or third tournament as well. Just since Elden, there's a bunch of new people, and one of the things that's really upsetting to me with some of the issues being as outstanding as they are since launch, pretty much, is that there could have been so many more new people that could have given the PvP a good solid try if it was in a slightly better state. It's kind of unfortunate that we may never get them, you know? That's really what has me upset is the wrong word, but kind of
Disappointed?
disappointed, yeah. I know Dark Souls 3 was in a very similar state, but the same would kind of count for that, right? It's like there could have been so many more of us, little tryhards running along our way, being terrible to each other.
Oh, what a shame. We'll never see like a new bunch of tryhards. Instead, we'll just see people going through with Rivers of Blood saying, I am expert PvPer. Look at
Yeah.
me, do 2 Ashes of War.
Mm-hmm.
I had to kill
And
those
I seem,
fuckers.
yeah.
It takes a
Yeah.
lot of work.
It does take work, but I can't really fault them either, you know? The mechanics kind of point them in a specific direction. I despise the doggos. Bloody wolfhounds. Hmm. Hello. Goodbye. I left my emotes at home.
Aw.
Whoa up now. Slow down. But yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm kind of a little bit more frustrated, I guess, at like FromSoft's like not really patching the game in a much more timely manner, or like leaving so many issues intact that otherwise should be gone, I guess, or should have been like patched out like week 1 or 2.
Yeah, like we caught, like you know this because you hosted the tournament, but we caught
Mm-hmm.
the headgear glitch before the game was out.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't been patched. We're gonna be taking out this entire squad just with bows.
Okay. What bows do I even have? Let me find the bloody thing. Composite bow. Doggo, no. Got him.
Do you have any like big hopes for the next patch?
Um, my only hope is that they don't mess it up again. Because that last patch, while backstabs being slightly improved is definitely like a plus, it's not really. Doesn't really deal with any of my issues. I mean, I've barely played the game since the patch dropped. I think if I've put maybe 40 hours. When did the patch drop? Maybe
I actually don't know off the top of my head. You'll have to check Steam.
I'll check. Maybe check Steam in the next while. But what I do know is I've put maybe a quarter of my time that I put on in the first, like, even since the last patch, quarter of my time in about the same period. I've barely been playing.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
just
that.
like, yeah, it's. I'm just. I played these games to kind of compete, I guess, or to move towards competing. And if I wasn't running tournaments, I doubt I'd be playing all that much of this game at all, if at all, to be honest with you. Like again, this is my weird fighting game, more so than anything else. No. That's the way I look at it. It's, bro, my broski.
He's got like. Did I not say we're doing it with bows? And what's that fucking thing you
Oh,
got in two hands, eh?
does that really count as a bow dash?
It's called Loretta's Great Bow.
That's a great bow. You didn't specify, my
I
friend.
just said bow, so if you really want, you can go do all the PvE doing this.
You're so funny, bro.
Oh, bro, don't you know it, bro?
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh, you're so right, bruh.
All right. We got a
Oh man.
couple of nobles left and a few little foot soldiers. I'm uh I'm looking forward to a next patch. Just dealing with overall incantations, spells, and buffs. Sorry, nerfs and buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were promised that in 1.5, but then, lo and behold, hey, what's that shiny shit you're doing? You know, with your quick casts. And
Why is that not permitted?
yeah, yeah, that's why they got rid of
Oh, the chain
yeah,
casting.
chain casts.
I I feel so bad for mages at the moment. Um, I don't expect we'll see half as many of them in tournaments going forward, which is a huge loss. Or we're just going to see Slicer for the foreseeable, I think.
Most likely.
Yeah, which is like such a shame. I'll not forget it. I think John was watching the first major tournament we did
Hey, hey,
for
hey, hey,
ERPV.
don't shoot him, don't shoot him.
What? Don't shoot him?
Don't shoot him. We're getting on a ride.
Oh, okay.
Fucking A.
I think if you crouch and run, there you go.
Oh,
You got it. Nope. There's some way to
oh,
have
there we
it
go.
like reliably make you get the full distance on it. The mages had an awful lot of tools in their belt that weren't overpowered per se, but like added to like the skill ceiling of like chain casting added a skill ceiling, I feel, or like a skill that had to be learnt in order to like progress effectively as a mage. Oops. And I feel that now that that's gone, I'm kind of lost for words as to what mages are supposed to do.
Just be shitty, I guess.
Hmm.
Not really sure either. Like, I wasn't against chain casting, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the chain casts just felt a little too broken.
Maybe.
Now, the sad thing is, chain casting is still technically in, just on like the jumping animations. No longer on just normal ones. We're gonna be okay here, Enda.
Um.
Well, there goes my sword. Thank you, Enda.
What did I do?
Well, I kind of need the sword.
Oh. What do we do now?
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace that sword for this playthrough.
Do- Here, I'll tempt him. Are we?
Is he covering his face? He is.
I didn't realize that that would happen if that he could actually destroy
His cart.
his cart. Yeah, that's really
Sorry,
weird.
caravan. Yeah. Learn something new every day.
Hmm. That's a really weird interaction. And a long list of very weird interactions that are Elden Ring.
Yeah. And I think the chain also disappears. Yeah. So.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So if I think I quit out, if we reload, it will probably
Yeah.
be back, but I'm not sure.
There's one way to find out, right? Do you want me to Black Crystal?
What? No, no, I don't want you to.
I see how it is. I see how it is.
But yeah, if we get the sword, then we'll finish up our little conversation here. So, okay, we spoke about patches, we spoke about EAC, we've spoken about
Hmm.
tournaments, uh, mods. Do you think mod activity has kind of dampened the online?
I think with the amount of people that are playing this game right now, um, and with the amount of people who bought the game initially, it's should be it shouldn't be all that many at all. It should be only a small percentage of the player base that at any given time is using the mod. I mean, like 200 people, 200,000 unique downloads, I believe. Let me just, I've gotten this wrong every time I've said it. So let's look up Seamless Co-op. Seamless Co-op. Elden Ring. So unique downloads is 223,000. Um,
Jesus.
that's nothing, is the thing. Because you have to remember, if these people are doing PvE playthroughs, most of them have probably already finished the game or are no longer are are playing it intermittently. Steam currently right now, I should have this up. I usually have this up when I'm doing podcasts and stuff.
Hmm.
Steam players Elden Ring. Let's have a look and see exactly how many people are playing it right this moment. There are
3 people.
27,000 people.
3 people. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So that's more than enough. That's more than most of my time in Dark Souls 3. We're playing the game consistently. If we're not getting activity with that amount of people, it's either a glitch, a bug, or FromSoft have implemented their multiplayer mechanics poorly
Hmm.
and are leading to people not engaging with the system, playing offline, or any number of things that are going on. That's not all explained by seamless co-op. It's going to be a hit, sure, but more people than not don't even know the mod is a thing, and we should be able to invade these players, and those players should be able to invade us.
Fair
So
enough.
like, also, how many times were we invaded, and by how many different people over the course of like that run?
I
I
believe we got a
guess.
grand total of 5.
So we were taunted tongue most of the time, I assume.
Yeah.
That's There's something horribly wrong then. That is beyond just a mod, that is beyond just any other number of things that could be causing the issue. That's either the player base isn't there, or the system isn't working as intentionally.
And
And
if you were to
yeah,
make a wager, I'd say you're gonna say it's the system not working properly. Yep.
that's me hoping that that's the system not working properly and not that the player base isn't there. Because if people aren't invading when there's that many people playing the game, that's the game. We might as well. What are we doing?
Hmm.
That's not good. that's a dead game then at that stage. So hopefully the player base is still there, and it's just something's gone wrong with the system.
I hope so. I
That's the
really
way I'll
do.
be. Yeah.
Let's
I
copium for
yeah
you.
yeah.
I'm
Where
willing to
do
pick
you?
up your red sign at Mag.
Yeah. Let's go. Where is there? It is, main academy gate. But yeah, that's kind of not gonna be too optimistic, but I'm also not gonna be too pessimistic either. I feel. I think that. Oh, I actually need to get the red sign. Give me but a moment. I didn't realize we'd be using it. My word. Yeah,
War Master
I
Shack north if you want to grab it normal.
yeah, yeah, I'm getting it normal. I'm not logging in and logging out to do that. It'll only take like 30 seconds. Mm. But yeah, I mean, it's troubling either way because that's going to be less people engaging with the multiplayer system going forward. Just because they can't get activity, they get bored and leave, right?
Yeah.
So that's concerning. The longer that stuff like this is like causing issues, the more it kind of eats away at the player base. And yeah, I'm concerned for the future if this isn't resolved in a much more timely fashion, because that's not healthy for a video game one way or the other.
No, it ain't.
So who knows? But you asked me earlier about like what would I hope for in the next patch?
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, if there is a problem with the system, for them to find a way to fix it so that like we can get activity again, like in terms of both invaders and like co-opers and gankers. I genuinely hope we do get whatever the problem is there resolved. Um, what else would I want? I mean, obviously, like I think the real problem from what I've heard talking to the nerds who've been looking at all the data is the motion value.
Hmm.
It's the motion values that are all over the place and wrong, causing the high amount of damage. So that across the board, like toned the fuck down, would make my experience an awful lot more enjoyable. What else would be the laundry list of improvements that I'd want next patch? I'm very demanding. I'm sorry, darling.
So long as you're not buying me dinner and you have to go like 12 different stipulations before we can even look at the menu. It's all good, old flower. It's all good.
Performance and stability in terms of both the networking and how it works on how it runs on my rig. I mean, that would be beautiful and make the experience much more enjoyable. And I think really the balance is like the last thing on the list, really. Like balancing can happen whenever it happens. It's just if the game doesn't run correctly and we can't get activity, or what activity we do get is like hamstrung by like connectivity issues or desyncs or getting kicked out every now and again.
Hmm.
Like, yeah. Look at this crotch lord. My god. Appalling. Here he is. Terra Magica. Pressure you off it. Ooh. The whip. No.
Oh, good. Good read.
We go for a trade. I can win the trade. I have never used that weapon art in PvP, so boom.
I'm gonna blame Gaelic latency for that shite.
End of the laggard. That's all I
Ah,
need
no,
to
no, no.
say.
You called upon the fucking fairies from Ireland to just fuck around with the connection there, bud.
There's a there's a person in the community. He goes by the name of Mako after the shark, and I've taken to say he's eating the wire. He's chewing the wires again, boys. The sharks are nibbling on the wires. That's what I reckon's causing the issue there.
Alright, because this build is a mage, I'm
Mm-hmm.
removing Radigan Sword Seal and just
Yeah.
popping on Godric Rune. That's why you're seeing me ruined. I do know the rules,
Yeah,
so
no worries.
What else?
Excuses, excuses.
Oh, honey. I could come over with my meta build, but it already got death warped.
Yeah, relay.
It was during the tournament.
Okay. Can you remember who did it? That's the real question.
I didn't have that Steam enabled shit going so that I could see
Unfortunate.
it.
Unfortunate.
But hey, I'll take it.
That's awful.
Yeah, it happens. Better me than somebody who was trying to do the tournament, you know?
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Although, as it turns out in the windup, we would have been safe regardless. The extra degree of security was deeply appreciated.
Hmm.
Now, this build, I haven't used SS off thrusting sword in quite a minute in this game, so we'll see how this one goes. Ooh. Ooh, that was a good read.
Thank you.
Ow. We do a moderate amount of panic rolling. Oh no! A
Not bad.
mistake may have been made. I didn't completely forget what weapon art was on this.
You know, I thought I taught you better, and I taught you how to fight with my pyro. You gotta know I'm always gonna be using stuff to obscure your vision.
Yep. Well, no, the vision was there. I could see the startup of the thing you were doing. I just there was a minor miscalculation. We'll call it that.
Mm.
I think the other word is a bit of a fucky wucky
A little bit of fucky
may have
wucky.
been made.
Is that a technical term?
That is a technical term, darling, as ever. You heard it here. We will be using that going forward in tourneys.
Yes, it was a techie wacky moment. A little bit of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey type of techie wacky
Shenanigans.
moment. Yeah, shenanigans.
Oh man.
You can tell your mum it was shenanigans. I occurred here. It was
I'm
sanctioned,
yeah.
techie wacky.
I'm curious as to when we're casting how well communicated, how we're communicating to people who might not be so in the new. That was pure latency. You should have hit me there. Oh my word. Ooh. You straight swing. Ow.
Get out of your fucking menus, bro.
I thought I'd have time to hit you there.
Did you just eat your mic there, Enda? You doing okay, bud?
GG though. For real, for real. Nice one, Dash.
I'll
Oh
take it.
my god. You can hold that the thrust at the end there for quite a while. That's interesting.
Yup. It's wonderful.
It is. I didn't realize you could hold it for that long at all. I'll have to keep that in mind. And also not do silly things in my menus.
What else can I toss your way? Yeah, let's go crystal meth setup. Where is it? Okay, this'll do.
I haven't upgraded this at all, so we'll see how much damage it does. It's been interesting though. I haven't like hosted at low level in quite a while. So it's kind of interesting to see what people are doing down here, and it just seems to be, honest to goodness, more of the same. Ooh. Yeah, I can. I was hoping that didn't have hyper armor.
Good
Two to
read.
interrupt that?
Yep.
I was full sure I'd be able to carry in grandeur.
Nope. Great sword.
Hmm.
Ooh, nearly.
Oh, the fat roll.
Good read.
Oh no, am I still? I'm still alive. Let's go.
Ah, GG's.
Close, but no cigar, my friend. GG's.
I think the cigar was there. It's just I was unwilling to finish you off with swift
Ah,
glintstone.
yeah, yeah. I see how it is.
Go big or go fucking home. Oh, and here I got my crash again.
Oh,
Hey.
yeah. That's another thing. Again, it's like stability is like the thing actually working correctly on rigs. It probably should run on. Like, I don't know. That's just like poor. I don't think this version of the game is quite on par with how vile Prepare to Die was in terms of portage,
Hmm.
but the performance is still. Ugh.
Yeah. It's
The,
strange. At launch,
mhm.
the best game on PC was DS2. I shit you
That,
not, like, it
mm,
had very minimal issues.
but
But it was, and I quote, it was DS2.
yeah, I wasn't very fond of DS2, unfortunately. Like,
The
I wish I
PvP
gave it
in
more of a chance.
DS2 is more akin to, say, Elden Ring, I suppose, than the
Yeah, that's what
previous
I've been
titles.
told.
Except, you couldn't heal in DS2 PvP.
Hmm.
Yeah, you couldn't use your flasks, which is probably the weirdest design choice I think they had.
I think that's more of a carryover from the original, though, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure
That was their
invaders
way
could
of
heal.
balancing it. They could, but only with humanities, right? In the original DS one?
Hey, you might be right. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my
I'm not
head.
sure what it was like in Demon Souls, but if I recall correctly, you could only use humanities to heal, which with duping, well, no, the duping stuff wasn't really, well, it would have been an issue, I suppose, in the original
All
because
right,
of
is
save
there?
file dupes. Yeah, let's go.
You sure about that, bud? You sure you
I
want to
have.
go right now? Because
Why am?
I don't think Elden Ring wants us to go.
Oh, have you crashed again?
What? No, no. This was a tactical DC to avoid fighting End of the Laggard in a
I
tournament.
see. I see.
Yeah, yeah. It's just mostly a skill issue, bro. The game just doesn't want me to fight you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's a DQ on your end, though.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see how it is.
Now you see why I don't.
Blacklisting.
Yeah, blacklisting you from the community.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you won't be able to participate in any of the paid tournaments. However, if you'd like, I can look past that. Here's my PayPal at the bottom.
Yeah. There you
That
go.
actually
Are my
happened once.
OnlyFans the?
Yeah,
Wait, really?
yeah, it did. Yeah, there was
That's
a
funny.
highly biased system in Demon Souls original because
Yeah.
my setup got banned from a tournament, and so I
Mm-hmm.
came up with an even more disgusting setup. And I got banned from the tournament, but the setup stayed. They said, "Oh well, we'll try and reconsider it." Meanwhile, the pot seems a little bit empty. Would you
That's
mind?
interesting.
It's like, okay, I guess my duelist days are done. If this is the type of people who are in charge, I'll see you guys in a couple of years, eh?
What's your kind of like tourney history then? I know you got that set up band. Wasn't it something with Firestorm or like the nearest regional equivalent, wasn't it? What's the
Fire Ruler.
what was
That was the
Fire?
setup. It was based
Nice.
off of the a Japanese player's God Ruler, which was Hands of God, which had knockdown on the running attack, and
Mm-hmm.
you could combo in Firestorm on the wake up. So I just,
Inter-
cut out the middleman and just completely said fuck it to any physical stats and just went pure faith for the. No, sorry, it wasn't pure faith. It was pure int to use Firestorm.
mm.
So I think at the end of the day, it was like 50 vigor and like 80 int, and it just one shot most people. So yeah, that was a reasonable thing to get banned. But outside of that, DS1, I did a little bit of dueling.
Did you
Um,
compete at all, or was it like I don't even know what the scene was like back then? That was so far before my time.
it was there were people that organized it, but it was more of, oh yeah, they're just old Fight Club people, and somebody is going to be buying coffee if you win.
Mm.
Wasn't as high skill tier as say the DS3 tournaments of like 2017 and 2018.
Yeah.
They were
I
fun
think
though.
yeah. I
It,
mean, those like yeah, small grassroots kind of like small community things can be tons of fun, honestly.
it was, yeah, but Dark Souls 1 was like really, really busted in comparison to the other games. Mostly because of like DLC content and
Mm.
just how chaos damage and poise worked.
Yeah.
So it was less of you're playing a game where you can make a build. It was more of, okay, you're going to be picking one of six fighters. You're going to either be using Giant Dad, Double Falchions,
Mm-hmm.
Great Shield Turtle, etc., etc., etc.
Mm.
So you can see it wasn't exactly well developed until glitches became more prevalent and actually added more depth
Yeah.
to the gameplay, which is weird in comparison. Oh
Yeah, it is.
shit. Okay, my game's not crashing, but now everything is filtering in and out of render distance.
Interesting. Are we cursed by chance?
We might be. I'll give you
Interesting.
an official one. Do I have anything that explodes? I do. Okay. Once it hits the ground.
Hmm.
Okay.
There we go. That's good enough. Oh, tracks. That's cute. Oh no!
Oh,
I
yes.
noticed just a little bit too late, but I do know the tech with that one. There you go. No longer have a buff.
Ooh, sneaky little shit, aren't ya?
Hmm. What
Ow.
can I say? Neutral pokes are fun.
Yeah, they are.
GG's.
GG's,
It's
man.
one of the yeah, one of the things that I find kind of a bit more interesting about Elden Ring to watch and to cast is that kind of mid-range game that exists now because of like incantations and how strong mages were. There was like loads of ways to just keep poking the bear until they like over aggressed and then punished. It's a really interesting game now. I think for that alone, that's like a viable strategy now.
Yeah, like,
So like yeah.
just the amount of consumables that you can use at
Mhm.
any given point on
Mhm.
any given build to bait aggression. It used to be,
Yup.
oh, you use fire bombs and throwing knives. No, no, no. You got everything now.
The gravity stones, the large glintstone scraps, everything and anything. You have so many tools in your belt now
Hmm.
to like pull a person out of shape to punish. It really gives me hope. Really, really gives me hope that there's something like really worthwhile. Some really worthwhile mechanics that are fun to interface with. Like it's if they do sort out the balance just a smidge. No, no, no.
Good try.
I thought I'd get you there. Nom 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 nom.
Out of neutral, that's got no range. I
Yeah, I
respect
do
it though.
forget. Can I get rid of these? There we go. That was the wrong button.
Uh-uh.
Oh, nah, I can't strafe that. Definitely not on our lat. Ooh, pretty.
Aye, double slash is awesome for doing baits on weapons that have that innate two-hit R2.
Yes,
Fucking love it in tourneys.
it is, and it's style. It feels very stylish as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Stormhawk Talon, isn't it?
Aye, it is, it is.
That has its own unique R2 as well, I believe, right?
Yep,
Or was that the R2 that you just hit me with, or was that double slash?
that was the R2 from double
Oh, okay,
slash.
yeah.
So,
Oh.
yeah, because double slash comes out from hitting the L2, you
Hmm.
can then easy combo in the R2, which hits twice. You could do the exact same thing with spin slash too,
Gotcha.
because with spin slash, it's all on your left bumper, and to do the R2, you don't have to do the full spin slash. Like, let me just put it on weapon, and I'll show you for this next fight.
Hmm.
Spin slash. Where'd you go? Did I
Which
lose
decks?
it? I think I might have given that weapon away. Oh no. No, no, it must be in my box or something. Yeah, because I usually have spin slash and something. I do not.
What other weapons do I have here? Meteoric.
Yeah,
That's an interesting R2.
I think we've covered essentially everything for the podcast.
Oh
Before
yeah.
we end, do you want to shout out anything in particular? Anything to promote?
Aside from my OnlyFans, it's only for the true end of the line fanatics. You can follow me at twitch.tv, end of the line, all one word. Um, Other than that, myself and a few other tourney hosts and really like cool people such as Bathed and Brenna, LBU, Cage Knight, and a bunch of other people in the community have put together a more or less a tourney org, I think is the only way to put it. You can catch us at the den underscore ER at twitch.tv, assuming the name hasn't changed in the interim. We do tournaments there. I believe in 2 weeks' time we'll be hosting the ERPVP next leg of the tourney of their tournament league, which should be super exciting. And outside of that, I have a YouTube that I don't really use, but you find me at End of the Line there, all one word as well. And yeah, it's been a pleasure being on Dash. Honest to goodness, thank you so much. I
Pleasure
really
having you,
appreciate
Enda.
it.
And once again, this has been Red Band Cafe. This has been episode number 3 of the PC Chronicles. This has been End of the Line. You take care, nerd. And for all you VOD viewers and podcast watchers, thank you for being here and stay safe out there. Cheers.
Bye.